In this lesson, I'm going to cover the chord changes to the jazz swing standard If I Had You, often played as a ballad. And in this lesson, I'm going to cover the chord shapes you need firstly, go through the order of them, the form, and we'll also do a little bit today on possible variations to those changes that you could use. Ways to enrich your playing in a ballad setting where there's a bit more space for those sort of things to take place. This song is taken from 1929, so quite an early one, and it's written by Irvine King, which is actually a pseudonym for a songwriting partnership by Reg Connolly and Jimmy Campbell. I think also a chap called Ted Shapiro wrote this one with them. I might be wrong on that, correct me if you know. It can sometimes be hard to trace who wrote what in this sort of era of music. Campbell and Connolly, though, were a real force, a great songwriting team. They wrote the song Goodnight Sweetheart, which was used for the Nicholas Lyndhurst BBC sitcom of the same name. So let's put the chart across the screen. Now you can get a PDF of this at my website jazzguitarwithandy.com under the standards section, so do that, it's free, help yourself to that. So here is the whole chart on the screen, and this is your typical 32 bar AA-BA form in this one, 8 bars per section, so nothing too unusual in that respect. We're in the key of B flat. This could be played in other keys. Quite often people play it in C, but I did find a lot in B flat, and I felt it would be nice to do a tuning in B flat for a change. And we're going to need quite a few chords for this one, so I'm going to show you those chords and shapes. So we've got an A section which is very much in B flat major, but if you look there down to the B section, we've got a common trick of any songwriter, which is to have one section in a major key and then another in a minor key. As I said, that A section is in B flat major, but if you look at that B section, we move to D minor for the B section. Now it's not written in the key as a key signature change as such on the chart, but it really does move to D minor there for a sort of a temporary key change, and then back for the final A section back to B flat. Now typically composers, if they move to a minor key, they will often move to the relative minor. Now, hopefully you'll know that the relative minor of B flat major is G minor, so quite often in a song, if someone was going for a different section in a B section, they might go to G minor, but this time we're moving to D minor, so it's, as I said, it's a temporary key change. And note that some songs do this the other way around, so if you've got a song in a minor key, they move for the B section to a major key, whether it be the relative major or another sort of temporary key change. Take Duke Ellington's In a Sensible Mood. You know, the A section is in D minor and we move to a different key, but we move to a major key for the B section. So it's a good technique for a contrast between sections. So let's cross-reference the chords in the key of B flat with the chords in this song and see what chords are in and which are out of key. An important thing to pick up on. So the chords in the key of B flat major are B flat major 7, C minor 7, D minor 7, E flat major 7, F7, G minor 7, A minor 7 flat 5, back to B flat major 7. So the following chords are out of key: F minor 7, B flat 7, A flat 7, D flat diminished, E minor 7 flat 5, and A7. So we've thought there a little bit about which chords are diatonic, which ones are out of key, which is really important for you to be able to solo over this standard. Let me play through the A section. B flat 6, F minor 7, B flat 7, E flat 6, 9, A flat 7, B flat 6 and D minor 7, D flat minor 7, C minor, F7, and the first time bar goes B flat, G7, C minor, F7. With the second bar ending differently: B flat 6, A flat 7, B flat 6, and E minor 7 flat 5 to A7. So let's go through the chord shapes that you're going to need for that. So B flat 6, I'll put these all on the screen. Again, like all of these chords, if there's any strings which aren't played, they need to be muted by the fingers, either with sort of the first finger sort of coming in relatively flattish, or not having the fingers set upright so they end up resting against strings you want to mute. So there's our B flat 6. So that's chord 1. 1 bar. Then we've got F minor 7 to B flat 7. And that's a 2-5-1 in the key of E flat major. E flat major would be chord 4 in the key of B flat. So this movement here, call that a 2-5-1 in E flat major, F minor 7, B flat 7 to E flat major, or you could think of it as a way to make the move to the 4 chord more interesting. So we're on the 1 chord, then we go out of key, but then yeah, this chord E flat major is one of the chords, so it's chord 4. So that's what I think of it as. It's just a more dramatic way to get to the 4 chord. Nice pull to it. You may also see that with the 2 taken out. So take the F minor 7 out and just play a whole bar of B flat 7. So like this: B flat 6, B flat 7, E flat 6 9. But I don't think that has enough push to that E flat personally. After that E flat 6 9, we're going to move to A flat 7. So this is out of key. We don't have an A flat chord in B flat, which is why this chord sounds, it's quite interesting movement. It's like, oh, okay, this is going somewhere, just for 1 bar if you like. But so that goes B flat 6, the 2 5 in E flat 6 9, then we go to the A flat. So I've labelled that on the chart there as flat 7 7. So that means it's a dominant 7th. And you know, you'd normally get an A minor 7 flat 5 in the key of B flat, so that's why it's got the flat written on against, you know, as a flat 7 Roman numeral. Now, why go to an A flat? What does it relate to B flat? Well, it can be regarded as what's called the backdoor dominant. So if you have a dominant 7th that's a tone beneath the next chord, that is a backdoor dominant, another way of getting to chord 1, if you like. So it has a nice pull, a lot of close notes that move nicely. One word of warning here: that chord, sometimes some people will play there an E flat minor or an E flat minor 6. So instead of A flat 7, they might go E flat 6, then E flat minor 6, or even just a regular E flat minor, so like. In that second line, we're back to B flat 6, 2 beats, and then we've got D minor 7, which is chord 3, 3 minor 7, then it's a D flat minor 7, which is just a passing chord to get to C minor 7, which is 2, so we've got B flat 6, the shape we've already used, then D minor 7, shape across the screen, D flat minor 7, same shape, 1 fret lower, C minor 7, same shape, 1 fret lower again, so that's 1, 2 on B flat, and then 3, 4 on the D minor 7, then the D flat minor 7. C minor 7 is our 2 chord, then we're going to go to our 5 chord, which is F7, so that bit goes. We then have our first time bar, which is like a turnaround, if you like, which goes B flat 6, which we've been using, and then G7, and then C minor 7, F7. Harmonically, that is 1, and then this next chord, the G7, out of key, secondary dominant, it is the 5 of 2, so it's the dominant chord of C minor 7, so it helps us get to C minor 7 with more drive, if you like. So C minor 7, chord 2, B F7, chord 5 of B flat. So after the first time bar, we're then back to the start. We go again through it, but we take the second time bar, which goes B flat 6, A flat 7, back to B flat for 2 beats, and then we get this. So we've got 2 new chord shapes here you need. E minor 7 flat 5, root A, A7, which is the shape we've used for A flat and G7 and B flat 7 already. So the second time bar, going 2 beats on the first 2 chords. So B flat 6 to A flat 7, back to B flat for 2 beats, but then a quick change, da, da, which is E minor 7 flat 5, A7 on beats 3 and beats 4. We've got the E minor 7 flat 5 and the A7 because the B section is in D minor and we need to move there. We could just suddenly jump there, but it's nicer if we use chords like this to move into it. Now, D minor really takes on the role of the 1 chord here. So change of feel, change to a minor feel, different section, which is really nice because it means when you're soloing over it, you can play differently over this bit to the A section for a different feel. What's E minor 7 flat 5 and A7? Well, in relation to D minor, that's the 2 and the 5. So we're always using 5s or just the 5 on its own, or the 2 and the 5 to move when we want to get to another key. So that's our 2 and 5, A7 being the 5 of D minor. So we land nicely on that for the B section. So the first line of the B section is the same thing repeated twice. So D minor chord 1, E minor 7 flat 5 2, and then A7 chord 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like that. And the next line of the B section, we're going to do a slight variation. We're going to go D minor 2 beats, B minor 7 flat 5. I'll put that shape on the screen so you haven't had that yet. E minor 7 flat 5, A7, and then we're going to work our way down. D minor 7 rather than D minor, D flat diminished 7th, C minor 7 using this shape which we haven't used so far, and then F7 using this shape. So that goes, that last bit of the second line of the B section goes D minor, B minor 7 flat 5, E minor 7 flat 5, A7, then we're going to work our way back to the A section by going down in the bass, chromatically descending, C minor 7, F7. So the C minor 7 and the F7, that's going back to B flat. That's a 2-5 in the key of B flat major. That's pinging us back to the A section. The D minor 7 and the D flat diminished is our way of getting there. It's our descend. So that B section, as you can hear, it's got a different feel. It's got a obviously it's got a minor feel, and you know, we have to work our way back some way. And you know, we worked our way into D minor with a 2-5 in the key of D minor to get back to B flat major. We're going to do the same thing, but use the 2-5 of B flat major. We are then back for another A section, which I'll play through now, which uses the same ending as the first time bar. So. Because that ending really does ping us back to start again. Let's play through the entire form. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So practice points. First off, you know, listen to tons of versions of this tune. I recommend listening to Benny Goodman's recording. I really like Django's recording, which is in the key of C. There's a good one of Stefan Grappelli with Oscar Peterson, very slow. It's quite cool. And there's also a good live one I came across with Bucky Pizzarelli, Frank Vignola, and Tommy Emmanuel, which is quite entertaining. So listen to lots of versions so you can get used to the form and the structure and the way the chords move, and you know, try to memorize the chart. Basically, try to memorize the chords. Work on obviously any chord changes which are difficult. If you need help with how to work on chord changes, then I've made a video on that. Check the description below and the card above with my #1 practice tip for chord changes. So let's just go through a few variations, things that you could possibly put in, or you might hear in other versions, just if you're wondering. So in that first line, the B flat 7 to the E flat 6, 9. That's a nice place for a tritone sub. So an E7 or an E9. So you could just take out the B flat altogether like this. So you go B flat 6, F minor 7, E7, E flat 6, 9. Or what I like to do, as it's a slow ballad, I will go 2 beats on F minor 7, 1 beat on B flat 7, 1 beat on E9. Let's try that. So like, so F minor 7, B flat 7, E, and I just went, that's the E9 into E flat 6 9. So obviously played in a ballad, but it'd be slow, it'd be more like. Sounds quite nice. Now the next sub, I don't know whether I'd call this a sub. I'd call this a variation that you'll be hearing in versions you listen to. Is instead of playing the A flat 7, is going to an E flat minor or an E flat minor 6. So you go, this would be E flat 6 9 to E flat minor 6. Now that could also just be a plain E flat minor, but why does it work? Well, if we take that E flat minor 6, which is, you know, very closely related to A flat 7, you know, in this voicing, which is the same as a minor 7 flat 5, we've got C, G flat, B flat, and E flat. So yes, that's the notes of an E flat minor 6 and a C minor 7 flat 5 coincidentally, but it's also in relation to A flat 7, it's actually an A flat 9 chord without a root. If I put the A flat in with my thumb on the E string, that becomes A flat 7. So they're two very closely related chords, which is why you might hear some people use A flat 7 and other people using E flat minor 6 or just plain old E flat minor. So just a variation that might happen. Another big place where you'll find variation amongst different versions is the turnaround, the first time bar. The B flat 6, G7, C minor 7 to F7. That could be B flat 6, B diminished, C minor 7, F7. So just swap out the B diminished, which is really like a G7 flat 9 if you look at the notes without a root. Does the same harmonic function. So that's one way we could change it. I'd do something like this maybe with that. So go B flat 6, B diminished, and then C minor 7. Then I'm going to go F9, F sharp 9 to F9. So I also see this turn around with a B flat chord in first inversion with the third in the bass like this. Then you could use D flat diminished as a way to get to C minor 7, then F7. So there's a few ways there that could be played. So that was the chords and a little bit about the harmony and possible variations to If I Had You. In my next lesson I'll cover sort of how to approach soloing over it. And you know, if you're new here, my name's Andy. Join me every Wednesday and Saturday for jazz guitar lessons. Don't forget that you can get the PDF with the chord changes as a chart for free on my website at jazzguitarwithandy.com under the standards section. Anyway, I'll see you again next time. Take care.